So in general, when a man provides a masculine frame by being proactive in solving problems with his partner, solving the problems that they are both experiencing, he can create positive opportunities that are productive for his partner and himself. My name is Glen Gilbert. I'm the host of the Glen Gilbert podcast, and this is where we discuss relationships from a man's point of view. Basically, I want to address those guys, those nice guys, whose expectations of the world were shattered by the reality of itself. Just because you have the ending of a poor relationship does not mean this is an end to yourself. You can change, you just need the desire to be honest with yourself. So I have a long career in healthcare, and one of the most important lessons I learned about science is to ask why. Also, the second most important lesson I learned was to accept my outcomes. So in other words, if the results don't work, the cause is from the input. For me, I realized the poor outcomes of my relationships, both professional and personal, were because of how I was approaching them. I realized what I was taught about relationships was basically not very honest. And I needed to change how I approached relationships. So I devoted myself to change, to be the guy that respects his own boundaries, to not avoid confrontation, to make relationship decisions that would benefit not only myself, but my partner. And so I changed my input, and as a result, my outcomes have vastly improved. So the discussions that follow are based on the findings I uncovered. So today's topic is basically navigating relationships and the liability associated with that from a man's perspective. For those guys that have ever felt the weight of responsibility of a relationship, we're going to delve into the concept of liability from a man's point of view, examining the pressures, expectations, and pitfalls that come with being a provider and a leader in a relationship. So, the role of men in relationships. Successful relationships are basically boring. I shouldn't say boring, but it's more of the drama is going to be significantly reduced. How? Great question. So drama is reduced by addressing, not avoiding confrontation. Any problems that are addressed in a calm manner, usually by the person leading the relationship, can help resolve those issues in a precise and quick manner. That person should also be consistent with problem solving and leading. And then by being proactive and confronting the issues head on, by not being passive aggressive, the chance of conflict is significantly reduced. So in general, when a man provides a masculine frame by being proactive in solving problems with his partner, solving the problems that they are both experiencing, he can create positive opportunities that are productive for his partner and himself. By initiating and resolving issues in a fair and beneficial manner, a man's confidence will grow, and he will be seen as a man with integrity. This will, in turn, be looked upon by a significant other as an attractive quality. But by leading in a relationship, we will have a burden of accountability. This is especially true for men. Great example of this is in that 1972 movie, The Godfather, that was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, and co-written by Mario Puzo. The movie is based upon Puzo's best-selling 1969 novel of the same name. But there is a memorable scene where Vito Corleone, the Godfather, played by Marlon Brando, discusses the roles of men, women, and children in the context of responsibility with his son, Michael. And the scene is basically Michael and the Godfather are having a glass of wine, and he's discussing with Michael an upcoming meeting. And he's saying, I spend my life trying not to be careless. Women and children can be careless, not men. Now, that's not saying that women cannot be careless or not trying to poke fun at anybody, but it's just there is a burden of performance, of accountability, always on the shoulders of men, always. Even when taken out of context, Vito's statement encapsulates the idea that men should lead and take responsibility in relationships. So the Godfather's explanation is that women and children can afford to be careless. They are given a certain amount of grace, but mostly because they are protected by the strength and wisdom of men. And I'm not saying, again, women cannot lead in relationships, but what I am saying is, again, men in general will always be held accountable for their actions, always. Men are held accountable because we basically have an innate desire to protect, provide, and navigate our family's challenges. The women protect the children from everything. In turn, man protects the woman. That's why we are the disposable sex. So to just provide a light-hearted example, a few years ago I was visiting London with my girl, and of course we wanted to use the London Underground or the Tube. And of course, planning was awesome because we were doing this during rush hour. Perfect timing. So at one point we were a bit lost. I instinctively navigated us to the side of a walkway to avoid all the foot traffic. And in that process, I'm being called wanker. Locals are like, what are you doing? But my instinct was to protect the woman I'm with, get us both off to the side so we can figure out where we are going and how best to get there in the safest manner. So I checked a map as to where we were going, also sought out directions, make sure we were heading the right way. We eventually did get us to the destination, but it was just, I never had anybody say, be protective over her. I never had anybody say, you need to, be responsible for finding the right directions and getting to the destination in a safe manner with your significant other. Nobody ever said anything to me about, this is what you need to do, but it was my innate nature to protect and provide my loved one with, with the path to our destination with the least amount of conflict as possible. So that's how I felt I was going to lead in this particular situation. So if we look at the opposite, or like if I'm going to be the devil's advocate, like if I'm not going to lead, if I'm not going to have a protective nature, what's going to happen? So let's say I relinquish that protective nature, that desire to provide and guide us through an unknown area, the London Underground. So let's say I don't want to take responsibility to finding our location. Let's say I let people call us wanker without sheltering my woman. But anyway, let's say I'm just too shy to ask for directions from an underground staff, or just not being observant of my surroundings to locate underground kiosks or anything like that. And I don't have a map. I expect her to start, finding us ways to get to our destination, or I accept wrong directions from somebody who's just, I'm in their way. There's so many things that if I don't take accountability and leadership and help guide us, how is that going to allow the woman to feel about me? Is she going to feel safe with me going anywhere else? Is she going to feel okay if next destination, it's already known that I'm going to expect her to leave me? So these are just some like devil's advocate, what could happen if I'm not in a protective masculine frame, especially in some place just where we have no idea where we are, where we're going, or what we need to do. Other examples of failure in leadership. So there's this really interesting video by Caleb Hammer. He is a financial influencer. And there's a video where a spouse is basically, it looks like she's lost respect and controls the financial outcomes. But they only favor one side. Basically, loans are taken out to repay other loans, and it's so it could accommodate a champagne lifestyle on a beer budget, per the husband's quote, covering another loan to cover a trip.
Okay.
And I didn't tell him.
What do you mean? Wait, why doesn't he get to know that? Why are we doing that without his knowledge?
Caleb loses his mind right there. It's a startup.
Oh.
He thought you were pulling from an emergency fund. Not that that's even better, but actually, no, you said the
No emergency.
trip was pre-planned.
I was going to tell him. I just
but you didn't, so I don't give it was. You didn't.
Nicely beeped out.
No, I didn't tell him.
Huh?
I didn't tell him.
Why?
I didn't tell him. That's heartbreaking. She doesn't feel comfortable enough to tell him that there's this other loan she took out.
Why?
Because, I mean, I was going to.
But you
I
didn't.
just didn't want him to stress about our trip.
But now you're stressing about the trip, even though the trip is already done because you've borrowed on it and now you have to pay it off. You borrowed, you opened it, you took out a loan. What kind of loan?
Uplift?
Okay.
No, Upstart was the loan I took for the card. Upstart, yeah. I took that out to pay off a credit card that was maxed out so that we could have spending on the card.
Oh my.
Has nothing to do with the.
So just watch his reaction. This is not a good thing. It's something she hid from him, and it really wasn't necessary, but he's like, oh, okay.
That has nothing to do with the vacation.
Well, then what are you talking about? Because that just contradicted your whole thing. I'm confused. What are you saying?
So, yeah, we did finance the vacation that we just took.
From what? On what?
It's like the pre-planned, like a firm, like one of
the
those.
Look he has is the look he has is incredulous. He is just stunned about this news that she's announcing to the rest of the world. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this.
So Uplift
took a
and
loan
Upstart.
to pay off a credit card.
Yeah, they're both.
You took out a loan to pay off a credit card, is what he said.
I have both loans, an Upstart and Uplift.
And which one did you know about? And which one did you not? Or neither? Why? When? When did you do this?
The last week of the month before our trip.
What month?
September.
Okay. The last week of September.
Yes.
You did this.
Yes. I got a loan out and paid off a credit card that was maxed out.
Yeah, why? But like, why? Because
why?
That just it's got my name too on it, or is it
No,
just
it's
yours?
mine.
Because
it's just mine.
It affects us both, and that is not really.
See, he's talking about how responsible they both are. He's wanting to be accountable for this too. He feels that there's a need to make sure we both take care of these issues, and it's just not happening. And he's just stunned at this news that she decided to tell the world first, and then and in order, he finds out about it.
Really a good feeling to have that go behind my back, you know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
I think you would understand why.
I think you would understand why. He's like, you went behind my back, and then she says, I think you would understand why. Doesn't sound like he's very understanding, but I'm going to save everybody the pain of watching this whole video. But again, it's Caleb Hammer's video. Anyway, Caleb is basically going to highlight several significant red flags, including the wife's lack of financial responsibility, but it's also really focusing on the husband's failure to establish boundaries. And it's really just unfortunate that this is happening to both of them. Basically, in the end, it's the couple's accumulated over $49,000 in debt, but with some self-discipline, they could potentially eliminate this debt within 2 years. But again, the video provides all these examples of how finances can be exploited when boundaries are unclear, and also when there's an unwillingness to take control of one's own finances. And this couple has 2 young children, and so it's a bit devastating to watch this unravel. So I don't obviously know any of the other dynamics of a relationship, just off of what happens with the video. But what does appear to be is a relationship where one person is providing a home and protecting his wife of 2 kids, where his wife seems to want to go out and have more fun. I think at one point of the video, she talks about going to a hairdresser that's located in LA. They're currently in Austin, and it's like a $700 cost to go do that. And there's hairdressers in Austin, I think is Caleb's comment. So I thought about this for a while, and I was thinking, if this guy was my best friend, or if this guy was a close, trusted friend, I'd probably tell him you're avoiding confronting the elephant in the room, which is basically your lack of boundaries, your accountability with something like this. Like, it's not her actions you need to worry about. It's maybe your lack of actions and your own accountability with yourself. If this is a 10-year relationship too, and this is okay, I thought you would understand, is what she would say, or what she said. So it's basically the fact that she is willing to do something so severe with her finances without his knowledge shows she's really not being held accountable for her own actions. Basically, he's accepting her behavior, that this is okay. He may not like it, but there's no repercussions for the poor decisions being made, and they're basically being accepted. So what he's doing, he's not holding her accountable. This is leading to conflict. And so I would also ask him, I'm like, how does this reflect upon you as a man who is responsible for a home, for protecting your wife, and for supporting your 2 children? Is she hiding anything else from you? If so, what have you done to show this behavior is unacceptable to you? And then, so what are the repercussions from hiding something from you? Because obviously it's not acceptable to him. But I'd also say, the actions appear to be what is considered kind of very beta, and there are a ton of resources out there to help these guys, develop those boundaries in a positive manner. Other examples are like James Sexton. Oh, that was really bad. I hope I don't get struck up for that. Yeah, James Sexton. He is a New York divorce attorney. He is author of the book, If You're in My Office, It's Already Too Late. He provides numerous insights into relationship liabilities that both men and women can learn from. One of those is neglecting responsibilities. So Sexton emphasizes that men are often held accountable for their failure, rather, to provide and lead in relationships. So when men refuse to take responsibility for their financial well-being or leadership roles, they become vulnerable to serious consequences, especially when there is a lack of accountability in the relationship. So, hey, Caleb, in that video, right? I mean, we can take a good look at that. I mean, that's a great example of neglecting responsibilities. Also, financial control. So relinquishing financial control to a partner who is known for irresponsible spending without shared accountability, this is going to be a setup for financial disaster. And we can see that in Caleb's video as well. It's not good decision making, especially for someone who is not financially responsible or not fiscally responsible. Also, there's emotional and financial fallout. So Sexton highlights that neglecting leadership roles can lead to severe emotional and financial fallout. So men who fail to lead, to set boundaries, to take ownership, their roles, take ownership of their roles, they may find themselves in situations where they feel stuck, unfulfilled, and resentful. Infidelity and disconnection. So Sexton also points out that disconnection, often caused by the accumulation of small, frequent disconnections, is a root cause of many failed marriages. So infidelity, which can be facilitated by technology and social media, is a major reason for divorce. Also, parental conflict. Sexton discusses in the book the impact of parental conflict on children during divorce. He advises parents to prioritize their children's well-being and collaborate effectively to avoid creating loyalty binds and alienating the other parent. But these are just some examples that illustrate the importance of taking responsibility, setting boundaries, and maintaining accountability in relationships just to avoid negative outcomes. Orion Taraban, he's a clinical psychologist and author of the book, The Value of Others. He provides several great examples of the emotional and practical aspects men should provide as leaders of a relationship. So we get an understanding of what we should do to avoid relationship conflicts. And Orion provides some examples of, what men can do to have a positive, healthy relationship. Men can provide emotional support through active listening, empathy, and reassurance, especially when his family is going through challenging times. Men can provide practical support by taking responsibility with managing finances, make decisions that would ultimately benefit the relationship, if not the family, and at least help with some household chores. Men providing guidance help their partners navigate life's challenges to make informed decisions. Men should focus on self-improvement, personal growth, developing new skills, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle will enhance your ability to provide emotional, practical support. And then goals and values that are aligned with your partner are important. Orion talks about fostering a sense of shared purpose and direction, and that men leading the relationships can create a strong foundation. This is obtained through open communication, mutual respect, and collaboration towards common objectives. There is this great video by the Soft White Underbelly, and it includes James Sexton and Orion Taraban, and they discuss marriages and basically what men don't understand. It speaks volumes to what men should understand about keeping value in a relationship.
And I'm in court talking about these kinds of alienation cases, these kinds of negative gatekeeping things. And I say this is not a problem that has a judicial solution.
No, it has to do with teaching men kind of how women operate and what men...
Teaching men how women operate. I mean, that's really the point of it. And I think Orion, and they get into... Orion and James get into a section or a discussion of how men, once they get married, that's it. They're done. And that's a mistake.
Makes relationships work and thrive. I think in the masculine model, have a different understanding with respect to, let's say, commitment and affection. Mm-hmm. To a lot of guys, it's almost like, hey, 20 years ago, I put on my tux and I said I do. So what?
Right,
like the president has sworn in once. We don't have to keep swearing the president in every day,
We don't have to keep swearing the president in every day. Like, oh, I'm done. We don't have to do anything else. No, it should be a constant objective for men to always show attraction and to show to their spouse or significant other that they are attractive, and to at least show appreciation to what their spouse is doing.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
I said it once. That should be enough. What more do you want? I've already given you the biggest commitment any human being can give another person. Right. It's also important to understand that, as I say in the book, no one continues to pay the plumber. The plumber is very valuable when the toilet is clogged, and you're willing to pay top dollar to get that problem solved. But after the plumber has done his work, no one keeps paying him. So what's interesting in your example that you gave ago, where the guy is like, hey, I gave her the kids, I gave her the house, I gave her everything. All that is in the past. Yeah. All that is in the past. And
all that is in the past. It's not what you've, did before and years ago when you married me. It's what are you providing now? And that's his point.
The guy might reasonably think, well, doesn't that count for anything?
Right.
But no one continues to pay the plumber. Everything with a woman that has occurred in the past is like dead. She takes that with her. It's like completely inaccessible in her memory, at the very least, and any kind of provision that you've given her, like she's already enjoyed. The only thing that a woman really loses when a relationship ends is that which she still wants but hasn't yet been given.
That which she still wants that hasn't been given. So just some really good points by Orion, and just an incredible conversation between the two, between James Sexton and Orion Taraban. So going back to Ryan's book, he also describes the leader of the relationship, traditionally a man, as the captain of a ship who offers resources, security, and direction, while passengers, traditionally women, offer companionship and support. So to paraphrase Orion, succeeding as a captain of your ship, you must build a boat or create an appealing lifestyle. You want to learn how to sail or develop self-mastery and relationship skills. And then you want to have, obviously, to chart a course, have a clear purpose and direction in life. And obviously that course is want to have as little disturbance as possible, as infrequent squalls, as they say, as possible. So you want the journey to be as smooth and uneventful as possible. So basically his analogy emphasizes the importance of men taking an active and responsible role in guiding the relationship, much like the captain steering a ship towards its destination. So James Sexton's book, again, is going to be If You're in My Office, It's Already Too Late. Orion Terabend's book, The Value of Others. And then the video by the Safe White Underbelly of both these men is entitled A Divorce Attorney and Psychologist Talk About Marriage. And obviously James Sexton and Orion Terabend. So we've explored the importance of liability and leadership in a relationship from a man's perspective. Remember, setting healthy boundaries and making rash, stoic decisions are beneficial for both people. Orion describes the leader of the relationship, traditionally man, as the captain of the ship who offers resources, security, and direction. And again, while traditionally women offer companionship and support. So if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and like the podcast. Leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the experience and maybe your experiences. So please leave us a comment and then stay tuned for a next episode where we're going to discuss more relationship dynamics. Until next time, take care.